Let's see here. I think we are live. We are live from my video. It says that we're live. Let's see. Now live on your channel, Identity versus Personality. Oh man, this is my first live, y'all. Well, not my first, but I went live before, so I think this is working. If my producer Yvonne is on, if she can send me a Zoom just to let me know that we're live, that'd be great. Um, this is not her job to do the lives and everything, but let's see. Is she on? Are you on, Yvonne? Let's see. Let's see what we got going on here. Let's see. Just want to make sure that we're live. I don't know if we are, so let me just kind of check everything. I'm doing this through Riverside. It says we're live. The Facebook says we're live. YouTube. Let's kind of check things here. All right, it says we're live. It says live right now. I can't necessarily see everything, but let me kind of move things around so I can kind of visualize things here. Welcome to my first Friday live. I want to say hey, hey, hey. From for who's here or who's not, let me see. There's a reason why I'm doing lives. I don't know the full scope of it all, but there is a reason. And um, let's see here. All right. So there's a reason why I'm doing the lives. Just is one is to really start to focus on YouTube. Good. Just sent a YouTube chat. I don't even know how to connect with YouTube chat, but let's see. Let's see. I have a lot of things open on my computer, so F FB is giving me issues, but that is my side. She said me side. All right, cool. I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to start these lives. I'm going to be doing every Fridays for a year, right? Starting 2025 and all through 2026. And the reason why I'm doing this is because there's a message inside of me that I know I need to get out. Right? There is something that we all have. We all have gifts. We have talents, and this is my contribution to the world. And before we go and get to anything, I just want to ask you something. I'm just gonna ask you this: have you ever felt like you were living your life, but something inside of you, like you knew, right? This isn't actually me. Like you've been showing up as a version of yourself that that was built on expectation, survival, uh, old environments, but not the person who you're becoming. That was me. That is me, right? And sometimes we feel stuck in a space where it's not. There's no such thing as stuck, but there's a space where it's like, where am I going? Like the old version of me no longer works, but how do I connect with that new version of me? How do I connect to the person who's in love, or the person who's a millionaire, or the person who's making a difference in the world? Um, can you say the time? The time is 7:04. Am I lagging? We're getting this figured out, y'all. We're getting this figured out. But in those questions, if that resonates with you, I want you to stay with me, because in this space you're going to get to know me. I'm going to get to know you, and we're going to be becoming together. Okay, Yvonne, you can go ahead and hit me up and let me know what you're getting over there. Just let me know. All right, I'm gonna just keep talking though. So tonight is kind of really introduction to who I am and all that good stuff, and I'll get into that. But what I just said, if that resonates with you, stick with me here because tonight we're really going to be talking about the difference between personality and identity. We're just going to kind of go into it because I kind of created this just to be 30 minutes, a 30-minute Friday night live, right? and just for me to get comfortable with being live. Um, Facebook was having issues when I tapped the video. So let me before we go ahead and apologize. Let's see. There's a give me a second to continue on. There's a studio chat, public chat. Let me get here, and I'll be able to flow a little better once I get the understanding of everything. Let's see, public. It says live. Hi, glad to be here. All right, all right. So we have that there, which is really cool. Um, we can look at that, and we can even show it on stream. This is cool. So I'm kind of getting the use of everything. Um, but when I type in "glad to see you," there's it's coming two different times. So we're learning this stuff, right? So if you're going to be watching the recording, this is what's happening. And I'm probably speaking into the Lord because I wasn't really promoting this. This was kind of for me to really kind of get used to just going live. And this is where it all starts. So a year from now, we'll see where we're at. But tonight, like I said, we're going to be talking about personality versus the identity and why our lives, it keeps reflecting who we've been instead of who we're creating ourselves to become. Um, and let me just kind of go into my story a little bit, and just kind of just give you the world of me. And if for again, for those of you who don't know me and you haven't, watched the ThriveWell journey or maybe some of my old, TV shows as an actor, you know, my name is L. Michael Burt. The L is for my very first name. Michael was the middle name, and I go by L. Michael Burt. Right, that's my thing. So this saying that's my thing. My life has been a story of identity. You know, shifting. Right, identity shifts kind of long before I knew identity was. When back in the day, like early 2000, maybe 2009 or whatever, I started to get into quantum physics and started understanding that. I don't know if you remember, there's an old video called "What the Bleep Do You Know?" That was my introduction. It was very simply understood, long video, but that was my introduction to like quantum physics and what our world was, and that was like, man, 2000 and just early 2000s, right? And so my story now is basically growing up. I was the kid who ran track all over the world. Junior Olympics, competition overseas. I was driven, I was focused. At 14, my city, Kentwood, Michigan at the time, gave me a Lombardi plaque for achievement. If you don't know who Lombardi was, Lombardi was a coach, and NFL players, they get the Lombardi Award and all that kind of stuff. But I got the little plaque for breaking records in the city, the state, even the nation. And in that world, that identity, that's the one who believed anything and everything was possible. That identity that I lived was powerful. And things happen, life was lifing, right? Things happen from that point, and there was stuff in the middle, and we'll go through that in future episodes, but life happened, right? And so just kind of fast forwarding a little bit, in 2016, was it 16 or 15? I think 2015, I really kind of start feeling the things. But 2016, I went through kidney failure. Right after that, I had a stroke, was dealing with cancer, had a very grateful for the transplant, but I had a transplant. In a transplant, what happens is like after the transplant, you're really rebuilding. It's painful. It's painful. Then I pulled my Achilles, couldn't walk, met a beautiful doctor. And you know, there was the misalignment there, but that was even before I had the language for alignment. Even though I knew quantum physics, identity science, metaphysical things, I wasn't really in that world, right? And honestly, nothing really reveals who you think you are, like losing everything, the identity that you thought you were, had been built, right? Um, so let me check here. Are we good on Facebook? Let me just check here. We'll get this straightened out. All right. All right. So going back, just kind of the health issues. Like you may be listening to my story and be like, you know what, I'm dealing with that kind of stuff too, right? Like it may not be the health issues that I went through. Like it may be something else. You may have lost someone that was really close to you and you're dealing with that disruption. You may be going through a divorce and you're dealing with that disruption. Like when yes, looks like I had to tap into the main screen and then tap live to watch it live. So good. Okay, so we're in. Thanks, Evie. I appreciate you. And looks we'll get it tight, right? We'll get it tight. But yeah, so all that stuff was my real education in identity, and I know that people go through things, and my heart is for people who are dealing with that middle passage, not the middle passage, but your middle passage, right? From who you think you were, and you lived in that identity that was you until it wasn't, and then life just kind of gave you this little shake up, right? And and we had to go through some things, but we go through things for reasons. There are reasons, right? And we get to kind of get that real life education in who we are and who we choose to become, and not through a book, not through a course, but life. Life teaches us those things. Um, so not to belabor that topic, but let's kind of really delve into what I said we're going to talk about, which is identity versus personality. Um, Most people think their personality is who they are, and it's not. Right? We think that's who we are, but what our personality is, and I've come to understand this and really believe this, that personality is the set of behaviors, the beliefs, the emotional patterns, and what we call is what I call survival strategies that we've gathered along the way just to kind of keep us safe. That's what our being does. It says, this is who you are, this is how you survive, and this is how you stay safe, right? And we've gathered those strategies along the way. In the ThriveWell Journey podcast, we talk about surviving, right? But we want to thrive instead of survive. And so we have to kind of go through things in order to really get to that place of thriving. And it's in who we're being, it's in our identity. And identity is different than your personality, right? Identity is the internal architect, that I call it, the one who decides what your life gets to become. Because identity is a set of behaviors and beliefs that we choose, right? And this is where I say that it gets real, right? Most of us, we operate from a personality shaped by trauma, fear, rejection, old environments, and survival. And we continue to live in those things, and we live in a cycle, right? And we don't live by the identity that we choose, that choose the identity that we choose to be. And if we don't do it that way, we don't live by intention. We don't create. We just live, um, just kind of like in an automatic mode, right? And I would say this is why, right? You want to really change or transform that way of being, but you keep repeating the patterns. You keep repeating the cycles, right? you set the goals but don't really do the follow through. And this is one of the things I don't subscribe to New Year resolutions, New Year's resolutions, or whatever you call it, because and I was talking to my producer today, by mid February, those shits are out the window. Like, you don't care anymore. Like, what ends up happening is that you go to the gym, or that's the big one, right? You go to the gym, you want to get skinny, or you want to get buff, or whatever it is for you, and you stop doing that by a certain time, because what you end up doing, or what we end up doing, is living that pattern over again. The old pattern that we had in 2025, 2024, 2023 on and on. We keep living in that same cycle without getting to the root of transformation, of who we say that we're going to become. We don't deal with the identity, right? We kind of feel divided internally in that space. Like, it's like, this is, you want more, but you're okay with where you're at, because there's not a true shift. You're writing on a journal, but you don't really commit to it, right? And you know that you're capable of more, but you stay where you are. And staying where you are is just completely fine until you feel that pull, that division between who you were and who you're becoming. And what ends up happening in that cycle, your life is just simply mirroring the identity that you've been living on the inside. And one of the things that I come to find out is that anything that's happening externally is happening to you internally. One of my struggles, like, I can make so much money, right? And then it stops there. It's like, you can't get no more. There you go. And I'm still dealing with that. Like, I'm dealing with that part of my identity that says you are worth more than X, right? You are worth more than what keeps showing up. And I can do everything I want to, but what then happens is that I don't believe. And so there's a belief system that I keep believing, that I'm not worth more than X, right? And as I'm understanding this, things are now starting to shift in a new way for me. And whatever it is for you, that's the thing that you could begin to shift in 2025, so that 2026 doesn't continue to look like 2025, or whatever years that you keep repeating the patterns over and over and over again, right? One of the things that I saw is that, man, maybe I can help people with that situation in a workshop. So this is one of the things that I started really studying all these things, like, as far as identity, alignment, quantum physics, Neville Goddard, all these things that can help and support the identity and becoming the person, or the identity that I see in my future. There's many people that they look and they say, man, I see this person can become, but they're just right out of grasp. They're right out of my reach. And that can shift for you. And I've shifted so many things from the misaligned space that I was living in, which I'll go deeper into as we go through these Fridays, to where I'm at now. And I've created this thing called the Alignment Reset 2026 workshop. And it's not, it's not hype or fluff, or it's really get into the details of making a transition and a shift from who you were to who you are choosing and creating yourself to become. The identity that is in love, the identity that is financially well off, a millionaire, whatever you say for yourself, the identity that is saying, I want to make a difference in the world, and for me, I have a message, and this is me being able to give and be a contribution to the world instead of take. There was a space in their life, I didn't know this until I did, that I was just taking. right? And it's time for us to continue to give and be a contribution to people and be of service. And that future identity that we're trying to live into, that we're creating for ourselves, I'll take that trying out. The future identity that we're creating for ourselves, that's the person that is a contribution to the world. And in that workshop, we're going to get clear of the identity that you've been living on the inside and the identity that actually is calling you forward. And like I said, it's not hype, not motivation. You know, there is motivation that's needed, but this is not just to motivate you, but it's to give you a blueprint of who you're becoming. And if you're truly feeling that shift, you know, if it's coming, you know, the old version of you who has expired, the workshop is where everything opens up. Um, you know, we've been doing work on the ThriveWell journey for a little over a year and some time, year and a half. I don't know. And this is another, just kind of an avenue of us speaking to the world. And when I say us, I say me and my team. And my team is, you know, my producer, Yvonne, where we are really here to support people who are looking for growth in their lives and really want to make a transformational shift in who they've been being. And it takes something. It takes a community, right? It takes being around people who can see you for your future self, right? Who can listen for your greatness. And that's the kind of community that we're building. And I want you to be a part of that community. But before you go, I want you to drop some comments in the comment section, wherever it is, from which platform that you're on. And the question I have for you is, what identity were you living from this week, and what identity are you choosing now? Like I said, are you choosing the identity of millionaire? Are you choosing the identity of being a contribution? Are you choosing, if you're, you know, you've gone through a disruption in your life like a divorce? Are you choosing the identity of peace, joy, and, you know, gratitude? You know, which identity are you choosing? Because we are spirits living a human existence or human experience, right? Our spirits are fluid, right? Our spirits are fluid, and we get to create and choose who we get to become. But some often we forget who we are. We forget the greatness that we are. We forget the purpose of why we chose to be on this planet at this specific time. And we all have a purpose. We all have the reason why we're here, right? And if you don't know it, you get to create it. And if you don't know how to create that, just kind of continue to look for it, right? And you get to be that person for yourself. And in that space, that's where alignment really begins, in the awareness of where or who you're choosing to become. All right. 7:23. I think I have more, but I think we're going to keep it. We're going to keep it short, just because I wanted you to get to know me, get to know why I'm here on Fridays. And I don't know if anybody's here right now, but what you'll do is you'll listen to the recording, and I hope that you come back. And if I don't see you in the community that we're creating, I think I need to probably put a link in there. But if I don't see any community that we're building, you know, coming back here on Fridays. If I don't see you here on Fridays, come to the workshop. If I don't see you in the workshop, our podcast is, you know, newly released every Friday, every Monday, every Monday at 7 o'clock a.m. So I want you to either join us in our community, the ThriveWell Journey community. I'll put a link in here at some point. And, you know, I'll see you on Fridays for the next year, the rest of this year and next year, you know, and we'll go deeper into how misalignment shows up in our body before your life starts falling apart. That's the big thing for me, is that let's get that thing nip it in the bud before it shows up. So there's things that are happening before misalignment shows up. There are whispers that we push to the side before, you know, but we push it to the side, and then it's like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. Something's happening here. And I know that when I look back, I see the misalignment. I see the moments when the whisper was there for me. It's like, wait a minute, I can remember moments, and I remember pushing that whisper to the side, right? And we're going to work on that because my heart is for people to really live their life, live their destiny, and live their purpose. You're one aligned decision away from a completely different story, right? A completely different story that you could create for yourself. All right. So this is the first live. I'm gonna say thank you for listening to the recording, being here if you're here, and I'll find out how to work all this stuff in a minute. Um, and listen, you're designed to be here for a specific purpose, and you get to create that. And don't forget that you're loved, you're appreciated, and what you have inside of you is for the world to participate in. All right, much love to you all. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next Friday or in the alignment workshop. And if you need to know how to get there, it's the ThriveWell Journey webinar.com. You click on that link, register yourself in the webinar, and I will see you in the room. And let's make thriving our new normal. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.